Welcome. This is Doris Benke. I'm going to be narrating the Bay-Wise workshop for you today. This workshop is brought to you by three master gardeners of Cecil County, Rhonda Combs, Mary Mack, and Cheryl Lee. First, we would like to introduce the idea of Bay-Wise. The Chesapeake Bay is a natural treasure and is a vital part of the state of Maryland. The health of the bay is in trouble due to increased development, resulting in pollution and sediment entering the local waterways that drain into our bay. And the Bay-Wise program supports best management practices in home landscaping that support a healthy bay, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that. Our Bay-Wise program uses a yardstick. The yardstick is a tool to measure approaches and management practices designed for home landscapes that help the environment and contribute to a cleaner Chesapeake Bay. This tool can be used to identify practices you do well that support the cleaner Chesapeake Bay, or those practices that may require a little bit more attention. Our Bay-Wise yardstick has 8 major practices that are identified in the yardstick, and each of these practices have various inches assigned to them, and your goal is to achieve 36 inches or more in your overall practices. The first Bay-Wise yardstick practice that we're going to cover is controlling stormwater runoff. Controlling stormwater runoff is important. Stormwater runoff carries sediments and pollutants into our waterways, creates cloudiness in our waters, and the runoff contributes to algae growth, blocking the sunlight and depleting oxygen. Some key actions for controlling stormwater runoff include improving your vegetative cover on slopes to decrease erosion, improving your soil by covering the soil with a ground cover or mulch, or adding organic matter through composting, since healthy soils can decrease erosion by absorbing more water, and also manage water flow through the correct position of downspouts. This is an example of surface water that was created from the downspout water from a large barn. There's no place for the water to run, and there's inadequate vegetation growing in the area. If there were better vegetation, it could help absorb the water better, or if there was a slope, the water would drain off better. Impervious surfaces prevent water from being absorbed. Stormwater runoff is a real problem when you have poorly drained soils, inadequate ground cover, and compacted soils. This is an example of an area that was improved by allowing vegetation to grow more. There's still some drainage problems, but the area has been greatly improved. Downspouts should direct water 10 feet away from the house. The downspout in this picture is too close to the house. Here's an example of how to direct your downspout 10 feet away from your house onto a grass surface. To increase vegetation in a troubled area, plant ground covers on thinly vegetated areas, under trees, and on slopes to decrease erosion. To help improve the drainage of soils, core aerate and amend compacted soils with compost. To reduce pollutants in the waterways, keep your grass clippings, fallen leaves, pet waste, and other yard waste out of storm drains, waterways, and drainage areas. Pet waste disposal. Pick up your pet waste every day and dispose of it in a garbage can that goes to the landfill. Install a rain barrel to collect and store water from downspouts, reducing runoff and conserving water. Rain gardens decrease runoff and conserve water. Rain gardens protect water quality, create wildlife habitat, reduce erosion and sedimentation, and add beauty. Be sure to plant rain gardens with a mix of grasses, wildflowers, and woody plants that are well adapted to the local site conditions. Reduce your impervious surfaces that create stormwater runoff by using permeable pavers. Be sure to plant trees. Trees reduce stormwater runoff by capturing rainfall in the canopy and tree roots, then by slowly releasing that water into the atmosphere. The second practice on our yardstick is to encourage wildlife. Maryland has a great diversity of wildlife. Invite wildlife into your yard by providing water, food, and shelter. Provide and properly maintain a water source, such as a bird bath or a small pond for the wildlife, and change your water every day to provide a fresh, clean drink and discourage mosquitoes. Provide and properly maintain wildlife shelters such as a toad house, bird house, or a dead tree snag or woodpile. Incorporate native trees into your landscape. Plant native shrubs and perennials that provide cover, nesting areas, or produce berries or seeds to encourage birds. Incorporate butterfly larvae host plants like the white turtlehead for the Baltimore checker spot. Encourage pollinators to visit your yard by including nectar-rich plants. You can also put up a pollinator box to provide shelter. Attract pollinators by planting appropriate plants. The third practice in our Bay-Wise Yardstick is protect the waterfront. And a way that we can protect the bay is to protect our shoreline. This is a shoreline that is in remediation. Establish a border of low maintenance or no-mow vegetation buffer adjacent to all bodies of water, including streams, storm drains, and water retention ponds, to absorb nutrients, slow runoff, and provide wildlife habitat. Use native grasses with deep root systems to prevent erosion on hillsides along waterways. Do not fertilize within 15 feet of any waterway or your well. Keep grass clippings, other yard waste, and animal waste away from stream banks, waterways, or the river's edge. Take the opportunity to hold your own Earth Day shoreline cleanup. The fourth practice of the Bay-Wise Yardstick is to mow properly and to water efficiently. And when you do this, you use less fuel, it costs less, and there's less pollution. Reducing runoff will help maintain the health of the bay, and watering less conserves water during droughts. Mow grass 3 to 4 inches high to encourage deeper root growth. Use a push mower. Maintain lawn equipment for better efficiency and less pollution. Allow your grass to go semi-dormant in heat and drought conditions. Water your lawn only if necessary and only apply a ½ inch to an inch of water a week. Water early in the morning, and for landscape plants, directly spray the water at the base of the plant. Native plants, once established, should survive on natural rainfall, so there'd be no need for irrigation. If you have an irrigation system, keep it well maintained, positioned, and calibrated, and use a shut-off device for times of adequate rainfall. Our fifth practice of the Bay-Wise Yardstick is manage yard pest with integrated pest management, IPM. Improper use of pesticides can harm humans, pets, beneficial organisms, and the environment. IPM is a process that involves monitoring, identifying, and even preventing pest problems, and then looking for less harmful means of control. Understand that some insect damage is okay and even necessary in a healthy ecosystem. Avoid routine use of chemical herbicides, fungicides, and pesticides. Use only as a last resort and then only spot treat. Beneficial insects provide natural control of pests. Learn to ID them, plant native plants to attract them, and remember that many edible plants, including many herbs, attract them. Some non-pesticide tools for pests are attractants, such as slug traps, barriers, such as floating row covers, picking off insects by hand, use fences for animals like rabbits and deer, hand pull weeds, remove plant debris and diseased plants and dispose of in the garbage, and plant resistant varieties of plants. Our sixth practice in the Bay-Wise Yardstick is mulch appropriately, recycle yard waste. Remember, get mulch more with mulch. Mulch suppresses weeds, regulates moisture, and protects beneficial organisms. Maintain no more than 2 to 3 inch layer of organic material over roots. Create self-mulching areas under trees and shrubs, and use byproduct mulches like shredded hardwood. Don't do this when you mulch. This mulch is too deep and it's against the tree. Use compost, fallen leaves, dried grass clippings, and pine needles found in your yard as mulch under trees, shrubs, and in flower beds. Create and maintain a compost pile and vermicompost indoors if you cannot compost outdoors. Always remember, if your world is rotting, grow something from the compost. Here's an example of some of the items you can put in a compost pile. Old bread, banana peel, outer leaves of lettuce, and eggshells. Here's an example of a compost bin that was made from wooden pallets. Here's an example of a compost bin that you can buy from a store. The seventh practice in our Bay-Wise Yardstick is Fertilize Wisely. Healthy lawns protect soil and water quality by holding soil in place. But if fertilizers are applied at the wrong time or in excess, they can create salt problems in the soil, affect winter hardiness of your plants, cause pest problems, make plants grow excessively, and pollute groundwater, streams, rivers, and the bay. Remember, there are eco-friendly critters in the soil and above the ground. Find out about the soils that are natural in your area and how to improve the soil health for those soils. Test your soil every 3 to 5 years. Call your county extension office for information. Follow the recommendations specified for your landscape plants and for your lawn. Pay attention to proper balance of nutrients and the time of year of application. Use compost, slow release, or natural organic fertilizers, and always avoid spilling or leaving fertilizer on pavement. Practice grass cycling. Use the mulching blade on your mower and leave the clippings on your lawn to decompose. In the fall, mow when the lawn is lightly covered with leaves and leave to decompose. Consider not having a lawn at all. A natural landscape is the best. The eighth and final practice to our Bay-Wise Yardstick is plant wisely. Plants suited to your yard will require minimal amounts of water, fertilizer, pesticides, and maintenance. Native plants create a healthy environment for people and wildlife. Be sure to plant a variety of native plants. If you choose to have a lawn, plant drought-tolerant turfgrass species. Decide how much grass you need for your children, pets, and recreation. Then replace unneeded lawn with native ground covers, perennials, shrubs, or trees. Use your landscaping to help save energy in your home by planting trees to shade the south and west sides in the summer. And if they are deciduous trees, these trees will allow for passive heating in the winter. And plant evergreens in the northwest to protect from winter winds. Learn how to recognize invasive plants to avoid planting these invasives in your yard. How to become Bay-Wise certified. Contact your University of Maryland Extension office to obtain your yardstick. Go to the Bay-Wise website and check out the introductory video. Work through your yardstick to see how many inches you have been able to accumulate through your practices. Complete the yardstick, and if you have 36 inches, contact the Extension office to request a site visit. If certified, you will receive a Bay-Wise sign to display in your yard. Thank you for your interest in our Bay-Wise program, and please be sure to follow the Cecil County Master Gardener Facebook page.